Hey party people, this is Jeremy for MVM, and today I'm here with a Kickstarter preview of Fossilis, which is published by Kids Table Board Gaming. And in this 2 to 4 player game that plays in about 45 minutes, you are competing paleontologists, fossil hunters, and you are trying to dig your way to score the most points. What you're doing really in this game is pushing tiles around and knocking them off to use resources or fragments that you get to get tiles and supplies that you need in order to help you out in your journey and score a couple points. But as you dig further, you're going to actually take some tweezers and dig in a hole and get bones. And those bones are going to be used to buy dinosaur cards. And those dinosaur cards are also going to contribute to set collection at the end of the game. Kids Table Board Gaming does that. They have like kind of a layered strategy that you don't expect, and this is probably going to be the next one in that line. They also have Rec Raiders. If you didn't know about that one, you might want to check that one out. But we're going to go ahead and show you this preview today, show you a little bit about the setup and kind of the cool stuff that's going on. We'll help you make an informed backing decision. I'll share my thoughts, but it's all up to you. So let's go ahead and get to the boards. Okay, party people, let's get to the setup. And I'm going to show you this just because it's kind of cool and unique. You're going to start out with 3 of the sand tiles. Those sand tiles are going to go to the side. They're going to become your discard pile. Now you're going to take this big old dig site and you're going to take all the bones that are in there and hammers. There are 43 bones and 8 hammers, I believe. And you're going to sprinkle them all over there evenly as best as you possibly can. And then you're going to cover them with this kind of top thing and shuffle it kind of around by going up and down preferably, and this is kind of the only thing you'll do by yourself. Then you're going to flip that little board over, and it's actually the scoreboard for the game, and you're going to see 4 gray tiles on there, 4 gray tile spots on there. You're going to put the first gray tiles on there, and then you're going to take all the other stuff and just fill it in there. And this is a team thing, so it's a little random. And you're also going to fill that bottom area and then the top area, and there should be 10 tiles left. That's how you know it's done. You're also going to grab your tweezers and put that on the side, and then you're also going to take this board and slide out, it's really slow, slide out the scoreboard from under there, flip that over, boom, now you have your scoreboard, and then you're going to set up the rest of the game. The next part of your setup will be the scoreboard. You're going to take 9 skill tiles. You're going to have more than enough to play there. You're going to put them face up and take the rest and toss them in the box. You're also going to shuffle some event cards, and those event cards will be shuffled as well. You're going to put those on the board, There should be 3 of them, and you're going to put plaster on the top, and it's 4 per player, which is actually labeled on the scoreboard, which is kind of cool. And then the rest of the plaster will be put aside. Lastly, you're going to also put your little scoring markers for every player color on the top over there, probably in the top corner. You can put it on the 50, or you can put it on off to the side. And I just chose that. That's it. Now we move over to the dinosaurs. You're going to take the dinosaur deck, put 4 cards out on display. Then you have your tools and supplies. Those cards, you're going to shuffle those up as well and put 2 of each out for display. Finally, players are going to receive their Meeple, and they're also going to receive their little square marker, which I told you about on the board there, and then they're going to place it on one of the corners, and this is kind of where they receive their first player marker, and you can decide the first player however you want. Maybe the youngest player, maybe if you're just greedy, you just want to take the first turn. I'm a yellow player, so I usually do. And you place it in one of the 4 corners, and that's why you don't set that up like that during the actual setup, which I don't think I said before. And then that's pretty much it. You are set up to go, and we start with the first player. So let me go ahead and show you how to play. All right, party people, what's the goal of this game? You want to score points, and you're going to score them by doing a combination of things, but the general flow of the game is like this. You're going to try to move around, move off certain tiles that are going to give you resources, and those resources are going to help you get tools and cards, and some of them will score you points. You'll also try to gain plaster, which will move the game along, and will also give you the ability to extract bones, and those bones will be used to spend and gain points of dinosaur cards. So you put the dinosaur cards on there, put the bones on the cards, and you score points either perfectly or partially. And at the end of the game, you will score points for having a diverse set of dinosaurs and some that share similar characteristics. And that's pretty much the run of the game. So let me talk you through a turn. Player turns are really simple. You got 3 phantom actions, and those 3 actions can be used all at once, 1 or 2. Just depends on what you're trying to do. But you can also use your tool cards. Those can be freely used. They are going to give you extra actions, help you move clay around and things like that. So first thing you can do is grab plaster. You grab 1 per action, so you can grab 1, 2, or 3. That will also trigger the timing of the game, because if you get rid of all the plaster, you will move the round forward and trigger an event. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Next thing you can do is move. You can move 2 spaces, you can move through people, you just can't share the same spot with people. And you can move diagonally, you can move forward, backward, or orthogonally I should say, and then you freely move. Okay, so I'm going to explain these 3 next actions together because they kind of work together depending on the situation. So you can dig, and it takes 1 action to dig sand, 2 actions to dig clay, and 3 actions to dig stone. Now the reason is because they can push each other, and when I say dig, that means that you actually are moving these tiles and they can be pushed off. Now stone can push 3, 2, and 1, like it's kind of going downhill, so 2 can push 2 and 1 can push all the 1s. So you can actually push a lot of things off using a combination of your 3 actions, and what you're trying to do is expose holes. Now the thing is that sometimes people may be standing on those tiles and they can get pushed off too. Thankfully there's a mechanism for that, because that kind of stinks, right? So what you can do is get back up, and that's going to cost you 1 action to climb back onto the dig site. You also have a situation where, and you can use this strategically too, is you can actually get a sand tile, produce a sand tile and use it orthogonally to maybe cover up a spot or something like that. But you also may have to put it back on, because on your next turn you have to get up off the edge that you fell off on. So you have to use maybe a combination to either just get back up, or you may have to put a sand tile there to get back up. All right, here's the fun part. You get to take the tweezers and extract. Now extraction is free. It's a free action. It doesn't count towards your actions. You can do it at any point during your turn. You can also have tool cards that would actually help you get another extraction, or skills that can be added that will also give you more of these actions or abilities to do so. So what you're going to do is take these tweezers, and as long as you have the required amount of plaster, because each type of bone has a specific requirement, you can extract that from a space that's orthogonally adjacent to you. Now, everybody can see these things. You know, they can kind of figure out what's left, but they may not have enough plaster to do it, and that's why those things are exposed. So it's all about timing, but it's just so cool to dig right in there, get your little tweezers out, and then you get to go ahead and grab the right bones that you want. And you can place those on a dinosaur card you may already have, or you just place it in your player area. There's even a little head in there, a little skull, and that's actually worth a big amount of points in there. So if you find those, definitely want to keep those, because they're worth a lot of points. You can extract hammers for 0 plaster, and what they do is give you skill tiles. You can look on the player board, choose one of them, and they're pretty cool. You can dig diagonally, you can possibly get extra victory points during the game. When you get dinosaurs, you can score points. You can even steal tiles from people during their turn, but they're all pretty cool. But the big trade-off for that is you're going to be placing those on your player board, and as you place from left to right, you could possibly cover up scoring points during the end game. So you got to watch out for that. To round out your turn, you also can buy a card from the market. You can buy 1 card from the market, and you can buy supplies, which are going to give you extra victory points. They give you plaster, and they're also going to give you bones, and you can use those to add to your bone collection. You can use them to pay for the dinosaurs from the market. You also have your tools, and those, like I said, you can use those freely on your turn, and when you do, you can get extra sand tiles, you can do extra extractions, and they also come with some points as well. Now, how you're going to score a big chunk of your points in the game is to buy dinosaur cards. So you can only buy 1 in your turn, and in order to do that, you must have at least 1 bone that's required on the card. Now, each type of bone will give you a certain amount of victory points, and you can sell a card at any point for partial points, or you can put the amount of bones required on there and get the perfect score, which will score you the most points. While you're at it, the dinosaurs, each one of them has 3 characteristics, and you're going to be looking at your player board to make sure you have a combination of the right characteristics, or groupings of the right characteristics, at least 3 of each kind, so that you can score the most points, and anything beyond that will help you score more. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's the way you take a turn, and you're going to keep doing this back and forth until you actually grab enough plaster to move the game forward, and you're going to trigger some events. Now, Events will have you push things. Players will take turns pushing things off the board, extra extractions, all kinds of stuff that could come up. But that will be the kind of the round for the game. And as you take out a card, you will replace one and put more plaster on this. You will do this until you run out of event cards, and then you'll have another round of placing plaster, making sure that every time you do this, you're going to have 4 per player, and that will trigger the end game. So for the final scoring, you got a lot of things going on here, but it's very simple. You're going to score dinosaurs that you have left over, either perfectly or partially, so you'll get points for that. You also have the skill tiles that I talked about. Whether you have open slots, you're going to get points for those, and maybe you have a tile that's going to give you some points as well. You can also sell your dinosaur bones, so some of them are going to be worth not much at all, but then you have your skulls, which are going to be worth a lot of points. Then you can turn in plaster, so 2 points for every 1 plaster. I mean, 1 point for every 2 plaster. You also have your cards from the market. Those are going to be ones that you have extra points on as well. And then finally, and this is where you're going to score a lot more points, are the dinosaur characteristics. So for every 3 of the same type that you have, those are going to score you 3 victory points. And then after that, each one after that is going to score you 3 points as well. Then you also have the opportunity to score for having every characteristic between your cards, and that will give you 12 points. Now, whoever has the most points at the end of the game will win, and if there's a tie, it's the more dinosaurs in your collection. And then finally, if you have a tie there, you are going to share the victory. But that's okay. We're all here to have fun. Now, that's the game of Fossilis. I'm going to go ahead and share my final thoughts. Hopefully you got a good overview of the game. Let's talk about it. All right, party people, final thoughts here on Fossilis. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb on this one. I think this game could potentially be kids table board gaming's best game. I do like Rec Raiders, but I just like the feel of this being a more wholesome family experience type game, partially because it has a lot of strategy going on. You got to pay attention to what's going on because these tiles will move around. Somebody may push you off, somebody may push you into a hole, and you're trying to get the right fragments. That's what you want. You want to get all the right fragments so you can buy tool cards, you can buy the supplies. You want to get as much plaster as possible without having to grab that plaster, but you need plaster to turn in for certain dinosaur bones, and now those are exposed so other people can get to them. Okay, there's that layer. Then there's also the cards, the dinosaur cards. Do I sell them early or do I wait till I have all the resources and sell them for the most points? Then I also want to make sure I have the right ones for set collection. There's that too. So there's a lot of stuff going on that I think people will enjoy. And I would also say you get to get rid of those silly science kits that you buy at Hobby Lobby and Walmart and stuff like that. You don't have to buy those anymore if you back this game, because those things, one night only, right? And then you sweep away the dinosaurs and you get all the bones, and then you go, all right, I just spent $20 on that kit. Well, guess what? Now you actually have a strategic game to play that you probably will want to play. And I think your family would enjoy it for more than one night. But I'm going to leave that all up to you. Hopefully I helped you make an informed backing decision because I can never tell anybody what to do with their money. I'm going to leave a link to the Kickstarter page below. Thank you to Kids Table Board Gaming for sponsoring this video. And thank you so much for your time. It's always valuable to me. Feel free to like and subscribe. You have questions at the bottom. Please ask away. And with that, you take care, party people. You have a wonderful day. Hope to see you again on MVM. Goodbye.